As you might know, I am Egyptian, but you might not know that I made videos about ancient Egypt on my other channel called Experience Ancient Egypt, which I'll link to below in case you're interested. One of my favorite rituals from ancient Egypt is called the weighing of the heart ceremony. It is one of the last tests that a deceased had to pass in order to meet with the god of the underworld and then cross over onto the afterlife, the ancient Egyptian paradise called Aru, or the field of reeds. Hi there, my name is Mai and I make videos about spirituality, mythology, philosophy, and very soon I'll be getting into social activism and social responsibility. So if you're into that kind of thing, please subscribe to my channel and connect with me on social media. In the weighing of the heart ceremony, which is rich in symbolism and poetry, the deceased get their hearts weighed on a scale against the feather of truth, which belongs to the goddess Maat, who is the goddess of truth and justice. If a heart is found to be heavier than the feather of truth, it gets devoured by a demon that waits at the opposite side of the scales. This means complete oblivion for the deceased, as in ancient Egypt the heart was a vital component for living in the afterlife. In fact, it is the only internal organ that was not removed during the mummification process. But if the heart is found to be as light as the feather of truth, the deceased is let through with the heart returned to its rightful owner, who can now live and work in the field of reeds for all eternity. This ceremony shows the importance of the heart in ancient Egyptian spirituality. It is the defining element that decides whether you perish or reunite with those you love in the life you worked so hard to reach after death. It was considered the seat of the soul and the emotions and the intellect, and it was what held your secrets and recorded all the good and bad deeds and thoughts you had during your entire life. So can you guess what it meant to have a heart as light as the feather of truth? Basically, it meant that you lived an honest life and that you didn't burden your heart with the heaviness of secrets and wrongdoings and living out of alignment with truth and justice. Although the ancient Egyptians did have a few tricks up their sleeve to keep their hearts from outing them, such as using heart scarabs inscribed with spells, in the end, the heart still had the biggest spiritual responsibility out of all the other parts of the soul. And if you think about it, it is pretty much the same thing across all other cultural, social, religious, and spiritual traditions from time immemorial until now. If you look at your own life, you might find yourself using expressions like, I have a broken heart, or my heart is heavy, or I want to speak from the heart, or I want to follow my heart. There are reasons for these expressions, and they are sayings that can be found across the globe in all different languages. For a while, though, science was very brain-centered, claiming that all feelings, emotions, spiritual inclinations, and other heart-related matters were part of the brain, and the heart organ itself had no purpose other than to pump blood through the body. But more and more, studies are starting to support what we have instinctually always felt. There is much more to the heart than that. First of all, some new research is showing how the heart's electromagnetic field extends beyond the body by up to several feet, while the brain's electromagnetic field only extends a few inches beyond the body. Some studies are now mapping out the heart-brain, a complex neurological system that belongs to the heart and has its own unique intelligence. New emerging healing modalities that take this information into consideration revolve around creating coherence in something called heart rate variability, as one of the ways to influence mood, to enhance the ability to self-regulate emotions, and to increase emotional resilience. But for this video, instead of getting too much into the technical stuff which you can easily find online, I want to get a little more mystical. And the reason is because the heart in spirituality is the heart of spirituality. And if you focus all of your healing work or most of your healing work on your heart, you will find the truth, beauty, love, and freedom you have been seeking all along right there, like a pearl inside a blossoming lotus. In Sufism, the heart is thought to be the gateway between the body and soul and between self and spirit. And if you know the Arabic word for heart, which is qalb, it actually means that which turns. Some Sufi mystics categorize the heart into several layers, with the outermost layer being what reflects the more turbulent and changeable emotions that reverberate from the ego or the nafs, with the innermost layer, or what's sometimes called the secret heart, being where the truth of unity with the divine resides, and where language fails to express this reality properly. There are also a few Bible verses that illustrate this importance of the heart in spirituality. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. I think the word guard here doesn't mean to put a wall around it. It just means to protect it as you would a precious child. You wouldn't lock that child away out of fear for good, because that would hurt it more than it would help it. And it's the same thing with your heart. What you want to do is be more discerning of what or who engages with it, especially for long periods of time. I personally have found that the thing that hurts the heart the most is deceit, from others, but especially from the self. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. I don't know about you, but I have found that my prayers, intentions, and meditations are at their most sincere and powerful when my soul has been cracked open, when I have had a moment of hitting rock bottom and my heart has shattered into 1,000 pieces and my ego cannot organize reality anymore. When you speak from that place, you are at your most vulnerable, your most raw, and your most authentic. And that's why you are closest to God, to the truth, to spirit. It doesn't matter so much what you say, but what does matter is the place you say it from. In essence, that is the lived experience of the spiritual axiom: the wound is the place where the light enters you. This may also be why the heart is thought to be the source of courage. Its power lies in its ability to break 1,000,000 times, yet still keep loving and longing for unity. And each wound makes it even more beautiful and sincere. Even the word courage comes from the Latin word cor, which means heart. So now that we have paved the path and we understand the importance of keeping your heart as light as the feather of truth, how do we actually and practically go about doing that? All the advice you've heard about living from the heart and speaking from the heart is right. But I have found that sometimes we can get so disconnected and so lost in our heads and in the world that it might need some practice to get comfortable with that level of honesty and innocence again. So my suggestion is to focus your journaling for the next week or month or so on answering the same question every night. Is my heart as light as a feather tonight? If the answer is yes, ask for what made it so and write it down. If the answer is no, ask for what made it so and write that down. After that week or month or however long, you will have gained an intimate understanding of your own truth and what kinds of paths to follow that will keep your heart as light as a feather, and also how to live with courage on a day-to-day basis. On that note, I want to leave you with an excerpt from the Teachings of Don Juan by Carlos Castaneda. Anything is one of 1,000,000 paths. Therefore, you must always keep in mind that a path is only a path. If you feel you should not follow it, you must not stay with it under any conditions. To have such clarity, you must lead a disciplined life. Only then will you know that any path is only a path, and there is no affront to oneself or to others in dropping it if that is what your heart tells you to do. But your decision to keep on the path or to leave it must be free of fear or ambition. I warn you, look at every path closely and deliberately. Try it as many times as you think necessary. This question is one that only a very old man asks. Does this path have a heart? All paths are the same. They lead nowhere. There are paths going through the bush or into the bush. In my own life, I could say I have traversed long, long paths, but I am not anywhere. Does this path have a heart? If it does, the path is good. If it doesn't, it is of no use. Both paths lead nowhere, but one has a heart, the other doesn't. One makes for a joyful journey. As long as you follow it, you are one with it. The other will make you curse your life. One makes you strong, the other weakens you. Before you embark on any path, ask the question, does this path have a heart? If the answer is no, you will know it, and then you must choose another path. The trouble is, nobody asks the question, and when a man finally realizes that he has taken a path without a heart, the path is ready to kill him. At that point, very few men can stop to deliberate and leave the path. A path without a heart is never enjoyable. You have to work hard even to take it. On the other hand, a path with heart is easy. It does not make you work at liking it. That's it for today. It is my sincerest wish for you to reconcile with your heart and with your heart's truth, and to reclaim that most loving of partnerships. Your life and the lives of those around you depend on it. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please give it a like and share it with anyone else you think might enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.